You're listening to Literally First Class, the podcast for female founders behind multi-million-dollar brands and businesses. I'm your host, Keri Ford, creative director turned 3-time award-winning coach, real estate investor, mom, and the one-on-one private advisor for multi-7- and 8-figure firms. If you're ready to make your next million, expand your impact, and lead with even more confidence, you're in the right place. Let's take your life and business first class. We're back with another episode of Literally First Class, and I'm answering the question from Kelly Janine inside the Somatic Success Society, the Nervous System Strategies for Women in Business Facebook group, which if you're not inside that yet, stop right now, go pause this episode, and click the show notes to get in there. I know, you're like, I don't want to be on social media more than I need to. You can just click in there and click out. It's also the only way that I can keep weird men off of my page and put in curated free resources in a very organized way. Unfortunately, Facebook, because most people are already on it, it does have one of the most organized ways of creating like a forum, if you will, for interaction, for tagging, for storing guides, for organizing materials, all of it. So I know it's kind of annoying, but like, do you really want another app to log into? Because I've got to put it somewhere. Do you really want another email or text? I don't know. I feel like this is the best way. So go join that Facebook group. It could be literally the only Facebook group that you join. I'm in like a very small handful of Facebook groups, by the way. I'm in like the ones from one of my mentors. I'm in like 2 others. I get invited to Facebook groups, as you can imagine, literally all the time. I never go in any of them. I probably, I don't even join them. But if I were to join them, I would just mute them and I would never go in it. So go in this one, get value. There's like the Wealth Shift workshop. It's a 2-part series. There's a 4-part series around If Your Business Triggers You, where I talk all about my proprietary framework that helped me develop the somatic success method. And if you need anything specific, just email us. We'll let you know and put you in the right direction, but you have to share a little information like where are you at with things. So this question came from Kelly Janine, and she wants to know how to completely release family trauma around abundance because she noticed that she projects her family's poverty mindset. And then, of course, there's shame connected there too, she mentioned. And ironically, she mentions the word trust. I don't fully trust God or myself to attract the life and abundance I consciously deserve, which I talked all about trust and money in the last episode, Breaking Through Money Ceilings. Go listen to that because I walk you through an entire exercise around how to notice where the gaps of trust and upper limits are so that we can rewire it, right? So obviously this is a podcast episode. I'm going to answer the question. I'll give you some exercises and like a map, but I can't actually release the trauma unless we're in a trauma trained session. But what's interesting here is the awareness that this is her family's trauma and that this has been passed on to her. And now she's projecting her family's, not hers, which was interesting wording, that mindset. And it's showing up in her lack of financial foundation in her business, even though she mentioned she has an incredible education and prices her business accordingly. So she keeps herself side hustling instead of leading, which also could be a visibility thing there. I want to just mention a visibility and a hiding thing. So like claiming your power, taking up space, turning your light on, whatever you want to call it. Sounds like a visibility thing, like stepping into the limelight, and really owning that versus like hiding in the side hustle. That's honestly what I hear when I read that. So I think that's part of it too, which could be related to the shame around asking for what you really want, meaning you feel guilty or you feel shame around even wanting something other than maybe what you were raised with. So there's obviously lots of layers to this because when it comes from our family, it probably came from their parents and everybody sort of passes it on like a cold or a delicious, tummy bug that like everybody I know has passed around these past holidays. So we have to end that. Like, we have to stop that cycle and that pattern and get healthy, or we're going to pass it on to other people around us. We're going to infect other people. We're going to pass our germs on. And so I'm going to give an exercise to you that's a little bit more cognitive and a little less somatic. And the reason I want to do this is because when we put a book on the shelf of doubt, we start to create a new possibility. And with that, a new neural pathway can start to form. It takes some time to do this, not as much time as you would think, but we can put a book on the shelf of doubt until we have a whole bookshelf full of books, and then the whole thing falls down in a good way, right? So we want to challenge these beliefs, but first we need to get them out. So this is an exercise I learned a few years ago. I still use this when I notice things rolling around up in my head, or maybe I'm noticing like I'm hitting the same wall over and over, or like this theme or pattern is still playing out and I don't quite have the words for it. It's called flip the script. So you're going to get out a piece of paper and you're going to have space it out. So I would just, write your goal at the top. Let's say her goal, it sounds like, is to have an abundant financial foundation where I'm no longer side hustling. Now, if that's the goal, and whatever your goal is, you're going to write that at the top. You're going to have a whole bunch of noise that comes up in your mind and in your brain that wants to say, well, you can't do that. You need these side hustles. And if you don't have these side hustles, you're going to be poor. And you're going to be poor just like your family. And all these thoughts and beliefs. But like, the interesting thing is if I wrote that very same goal down on a piece of paper, I wouldn't even share any of those thoughts. And that is wild to me. That is so cool, because it's just further proof that every person has their own set of belief systems and how they identify with those. Like, this is who I am, this is how I am, this is how I was raised, this is what I believe. None of that is fucking true. Based on what? Who says? Like, according to who? So none of that is true, because it's only based on your lived perception and experience. Somebody else can walk in and have a totally different lived experience and a totally different set of beliefs. But if I were to tell you that it's 72 degrees in the room, would you argue with me? No, because that's a fact. But if I were to tell you I'm cold at 72 degrees, you might disagree with me, because that's subjective. That's based on your experience. At 72 degrees in the shade in California, I might be a little chilly. But at 72 degrees in the shade for you, you might be hot. It just depends, right, on the person, their preferences, it's totally subjective. So we can't argue facts, but we can argue and challenge beliefs. And that's exactly what this exercise is going to do. So get out that piece of paper, write down your goal at the top. Kelly, write down your goal. And then you're going to write down every single thought that comes up that says, nope, you can't have that. Write it out. Right? I gave a couple options, which was like, you need those side hustles or you're going to be poor. Or like, what are you going to do with all that time? Or who do you think you are to be leading? Or like, what are you going to even lead with? Right? Or you can't have abundance nobody in your family has, or it's going to be really hard. Those are just some ideas of what could come up, but this is unique to you. So write all those ideas, all those things out. They're called objections to your goal. All right, so you have your goal, cognitive mind, desire, want, everything inside you that says otherwise. Leave some space, though, between each of those objections. Because then this is where we start to flip the script. Now, you can pause it here until you finish the first part. But the second part, you're going to go back now and you're going to write under each objection an opposing statement. So you have your objection and you have your oppositional statement. And what this says is, let's say Kelly's response was, I need all these side hustles, or where am I going to make money? Then she's going to write something that completely opposes that, which is, I don't need the side hustles. I can have one thing and make all the money with just that. It will feel like a lie. It might feel like a lie when you write this out. That's okay. all we're doing is taking a book and putting it on the shelf of doubt. We are planting the idea in your brain that another possibility could happen, could occur. Another path or idea could be possible. And aren't there people doing one thing and making a lot of money? Yeah. I hope you use that as inspiration and proof for further evidence that this is possible because someone somewhere is doing it. Right? Be inspired by that, not jealous or envious. So every single objection has an opposition. Go ahead and write those out. There might be a few for each, just so you know. There might be different ways, a couple words rearranged. Just get it all out. Stream of consciousness. And all we're doing is thinking from possibility right now. And now you're going to go back, and I want you to put an asterisk. You can pause it again if you need more time. You're going to go back now and put an asterisk next to every single one of these. This is where the somatic part comes in, that feel really true. And here's how you know. You know that feeling like in your gut, or that like pinprick, like kind of like not sharp pain, but like it's specific, like ooh, like that. That's the feeling you're going to get when you read it, because you're like, fuck, that's really true. There's that shit. That's how you know. So when you feel that inside your body, that little pinprick, that little wincing moment, that is how you know what to put a star next to. So just put a little asterisk next to those. And then I want you to write, again, you can pause here, and then you can write who that belief belongs to. Because it ain't yours. You just inherited that and caught it like a cold. It's not yours. So we get to let that shit go, right? Get to let that go. Now, I recognize that this is more of a cognitive exercise, and this might serve as a big aha with some deep awareness. And that is only part one of the healing and releasing work as it relates to trauma. Most mindset coaching stops there. That's as far as they go. That's not where I stop. That's not where we stop in our program. So if you want help with that, if you want help now that you have all this new awareness and you want to know, but how do I rewire this? Because now I'm aware, and I'm so aware I can't unsee this. And there's that belief. And now I know it's not mine, but I can't stop feeling this way in my body, or I can't seem to change the behaviors that are driving this. Then let's chat. You need to be inside the Apex Academy. That's where you're going to work with me and a master coach, literally rewiring your nervous system, actually releasing trauma, reprogramming, so that over time you stop having a trigger inside and it stops controlling you. That this, despite awareness, does not become a thing that you continue to do. So we literally record a new pattern. We record new imprints. That's the work we do inside Apex. So click the link in the show notes below. There's applications in there. You can do half a year, or you can do the 12-month. Obviously, I love having your nervous system for longer, because the longer I get to work with you, the better this work gets. Truly, because I've already taken the time to get to know you. You've already taken the time to get to know me. And I know your nervous system, and therefore I know your edges. So when I have somebody who's been with me for a few years inside Apex, and they shoot me, they tag me on the Facebook group, or we go into coaching, we go fast. Because we can. We have all that history together. I know their nervous system. I know the edges. They have trust and they feel safe with me. It just gets better. It really does. So you're doing yourself a disservice, I think, but I get it if you have to do the shorter term. And there's still a lot that can happen in 6 months, or I wouldn't offer it. I would never offer the 3 months, because I just don't think it's enough time, like if we're being honest. So 6 months, you'll still have a lot. You'll probably have to renew, but that's okay. Hop in for 6 months. See how you like it. Some people just don't want to commit to a 12-month long program. I get that. Maybe you've been there and you've been burned. Maybe the program wasn't what you thought it was. I don't know. But people that stay in our programs stay in our programs. They love it. So it gets juicier and better the longer we're together. I love that for us. And yeah, I'm excited to help you guys move through some of this stuff. So let me know how this impacted you. You can send me a DM and let me know how this exercise helped you. You can share this with a friend. And what I would love so much, if I'm being honest, is if you would please leave a review. I want to know, like, is this valuable? Are you liking these episodes? Are you listening to them, sharing them like on repeat? Like, what is this experience like for you? Please leave me a review on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify. We should be on Audible very soon, if not already, by the time this comes out. But I would really appreciate that. That would be awesome. I spend a lot of time creating, free resources, a ton of value, a ton of content. I want it to matter. Like, I want you guys to literally be like, some of you maybe like never ever sign up for anything, and that's okay. You're like, my life has been changed forever because of the podcast. Amazing. And if you're a client, I hope it becomes the peanut butter to your jelly. Like, I hope that it's fully complementary to all the work that we're doing together inside the academy or in our one-on-one program. So a review would mean so much to me. All right. Well, keep it first class. I have a really interesting episode coming your way next week with a couple big announcements. So I will see you on that next episode.
Thanks for tuning in to Literally First Class. If today's episode inspired you, hit subscribe and leave a review. It helps us reach even more incredible women like you who are ready to level up, lead with impact, and make first class moves. I'll see you in the next episode, but until then, keep dreaming big and taking bold action.